Try not to become a man of success, but rather try to become a man of value. A quote by Albert Einstein.
What a beautiful quote to start with. Welcome to this new episode of Bachpan Ke Pitare Se and Little Storytellers Collaborative Initiative, making way to hashtag inclusive community, a podcast of hope. So, this was the voice that you heard from today's guests. Nina, would you like
Yeah.
to guess who is it?
So today we have with us Amrita Tripathi, who is the VP at SDNA Global, a global executive search firm. She has been instrumental in growing the organization from its inception days. She leads the Charter for Cultural Development to create a high performing culture where teamwork is essential. She is also awarded the Global Leadership Forum as the Most Emerging Women Leader 2022 and was featured in the February 2023 edition of CIO Magazine, a leading publication that provides insights and analysis on the latest trends and innovations in the technology industry. Amrita was selected amongst the 100 power women leaders in Asia by White Page International and was awarded in Dubai. She is also certified 40 under 40 HR leader by Jombe Group. Amrita loves to write and draw when away from work. She is also the author of the book Antar Man Se Parichay, which is a compilation of several of her poems. So, what do you want to say now, Deepa, about the guests that we have today?
Yes. You just told us about her professional accomplishments, Nina. And let me
Yeah.
tell you, it's not just her personal accomplishments that are important. On personal front also, she is one of the parents who believes in inclusivity. She has put her child in an inclusive school where he was studying with other neurodiverse kids. And in my interaction with her, I found her to be a parent, not judging at all about other kids or other parents. She was very, very cooperative and loving
Mhm.
towards others. So, this is how our special guest is so special in so many different ways. So, let's welcome without further ado Amrita Tripathi. Welcome, Amrita. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you, Deepa, and thank you, Nina, for the very warm welcome and the invitation. I think it's truly my pleasure to be on your show, and I am really excited to see how the conversation unfolds here.
So, hearty welcome, Amrita. So, the first question that, as a ritual, we do, I would like to ask you is what does inclusion mean to you?
All right. To me, inclusion is all about creating a space where everyone can truly be themselves. No one feels pressured to fit into a mold or hide parts of who they are. It's where every individual, regardless of their background, their ability, or identity, they all feel empowered to bring their whole self to the table. Inclusion is also about growing mutual respect and understanding where everyone feels comfortable sharing their thoughts, knowing that no idea is a bad idea, and divergent views are seen as opportunities for growth and not threats. I also think it is a mindset and a culture where we actively listen to one another, even when our opinions could differ. It is not just about equality, it is also about equity and larger so what that means is recognizing that not everyone starts from the same place, and making sure everyone has the tools and support that they need to thrive, even if that means providing different resources to different people. So, for example, think about bicycle race. If you were to line up two people, I'm taking example of two people considering one has full mobility and the other could be somebody who has a disability to prevent or that prevents them from using their legs. So the idea of equality would mean giving them both the same kind of bike, but for the person with a disability, that's not fair. They would need a hand cycle, which is a specially designed bike that allows them to race on equal terms. So, equity in this case means recognizing the different needs and providing those tools that allow each person to compete with their best, even if those tools look very different, and the principle of equity, making sure everyone has what they need to succeed, I think is the core central to true inclusion. Also, on a personal level, I think inclusion also means being aware of our own unconscious biases, and not letting them shape our judgments or decisions. It's about actively making space for others and not letting assumptions or stereotypes limit the potential of one individual or teams together. Yeah, so that's what I would want to say.
Yeah, that was beautifully put up by you. So now, so Amrita, as I came to know from Deepa, that being a parent of neurotypical child, you admitted your child to an inclusive school. So was there any second thought or any concern when you went forward with this decision?
All right. So I would rather answer this question as this was not a conscious decision, because when
Okay.
we first decided to send our son to the school, it wasn't really about
Mm.
looking for an inclusive environment. He was only
But
about 1.5 years old, and
okay. Mm.
honestly, we were just looking for a safe place for him to stay while
Mm-hmm.
me and my spouse were at work.
Mm. Mm.
So my main worries were the usual ones at that point of time about his safety and security, especially since
Mm.
he hadn't even started speaking yet. So,
Mm.
but to our surprise, I think he adjusted really well. The
Mm.
teachers and caregivers were so warm and welcoming. I
Mm.
think he started to form bonds with them pretty quickly.
Okay.
So, and Nina, so he moved through playgroup,
Mm-hmm.
nursery, kindergarten, and up to grade 2 at the same school.
Mm.
And then, of course, in between the pandemic hit, we all saw how much it affected the schools, institutions, and education as a whole. We started seeing a lot of families, including some of our friends, began transferring their children to other schools. At that point of time, the school was one of the favorite amongst a lot of,
Mm-hmm.
families
Mm.
in the housing society. One
Mm-hmm.
reason, of course, was that this school was not offering classes beyond grade 3 and 4. But
Okay.
for us personally, what stood out was during that time, how the school started shifting its focus for the noble cause. They began putting more energy and supporting children with special needs and really leaning into inclusive education, that is, which we hadn't really fully realized at first. And since our son had been there since he was very little, we never questioned the school's ability to continue supporting him. And in fact, we saw more of their approach, realizing just how much they were ahead of other schools in the same area. They had
Mm.
brilliant academic syllabus, and yet
Mm.
Harvard didn't focus just on the academics. They offered a well-rounded experience with
Mm-hmm.
things like yoga, arts,
Mm.
and sports. So we were
Mm.
really happy about it because it felt like they were giving a child a chance to grow in every possible way, not just,
Mm.
intellectually. So
Correct.
looking back at it, I think I'm really glad he was in such an inclusive environment,
Mm.
which has become a foundational stage. And
Mm.
it has, I think, helped him grow in ways which I really
Mm.
didn't expect at that point of time. I think
Mm.
listening from the teachers and others,
Mm.
and what I gather from people that I meet, I think he's developed
Mm-hmm.
a lot of empathy a strong sense of collaboration and
Hmm.
an understanding of the importance of diversity and the world around us. You know,
Correct. Hmm.
these skills that I know will help him throughout his life, no matter what he does.
Hmm.
So I am
Correct.
really glad that I put him in this school.
I think that was one of your best decision because, as you mentioned, he knows what empathy is. Now he knows how
Yeah.
to, adjust with diverse culture,
Yes.
diversity, in fact. So
Yes.
that is something that, as parents, we should really look upon instead of, like many of time we focus on what exactly are coming first all the time, 100%. That something is something can happen gradually, but the main thing is when you see for the long run, uh, teaching our children the values is very important. And I think I'm so happy to have you here, and this will be such an inspiring message to most of the parents who are listening to this. Yeah, Deepa.
Thank you.
I actually so much agree because I've seen the child so helping and caring and loving with all his peers. So he had a good approach. He always had, and I'm sure he continues to have a good approach towards his peers. And that was
Yeah.
very important for me too. And it was like a learning opportunity for me also. Ki this parent is not concerned. This parent is more empathetic and brave enough. In a way, brave enough, I will use this word specifically, क्योंकि बहुत सारे पेरेंट्स को मैंने देखा है, बहुत सारे लोगों को मैंने देखा है अपने आसपास, जो थोड़ा सा भी कोई चीज़ डिफरेंट होती है ना, जो थोड़ी सी अलग होती है हमारे हमसे, उसको एक्सेप्ट करने में या उसके पास जाने में भी लोग कतराते हैं. तो दिस इज व्हाट स्टूड आउट फॉर मी द मोस्ट अबाउट यू अमृता, यू एंड योर हस्बैंड,
Thank
कि
you.
बच्चे खुशी से झूम रहे हैं. और वैसे भी नीना, एज वी हैव interviewed so many people in our
Uh-huh.
podcast, right, what
Uh,
everyone
uh,
said was kids are
uh.
inclusive innately, right? And this
Yeah,
is
Correct.
what has
Correct.
absolutely.
happened.
Yes, yes.
So
That
I'm
how
so
you mold them.
yes, and I'm so
It's
happy
about
that
how we mold them,
today
correct?
we have a parent who has
Hmm.
made this conscious decision, because it's not that जब आपने डाला था तब it was not very conscious decision, but as you
Hmm.
saw the school moving towards more inclusivity, you always had the option to pull him out of the school,
Yes,
Correct.
correct? But you
exactly.
did not do
Correct.
that. You just pulled
Yeah.
him out only when there were no more grades. Like he could not study in the same
Yes.
school for the next grade also,
Had
right?
I had we had an option where it could have been, we could have stretched it longer than he stayed. I think we had an option if we had an option of him continuing till larger grades or bigger, higher
Hmm.
grades in the same school, we would have continued.
Hmm.
I don't think we would have pulled him out from the school.
So true.
I'm
So
sure.
true. Yeah.
So moving
That's
ahead in this
really.
conversation, Amrita, do you think people should admit their neurotypical children to an inclusive school?
Uh, See, I'm not an expert in this field, and with all respect, I hold great respect for people and institutions which have come forward to address, this challenge which the world is facing and making world more inclusive, rather. But I believe the question itself, now that you know me, Deepa already
Mhm.
knows me, Nina, now that you have been interacting.
Yeah.
I think the question itself is a bit of a paradox, as at least honestly, I feel. The moment we
Hmm.
start labeling children as neurotypical or not, we have already
Hmm.
created some boundaries. By
Correct.
placing people into categories like that, we are setting up unconscious biases, is what I feel, that will continue to undermine the true essence of inclusion.
True.
In my view, inclusion shouldn't just be about welcoming children with special needs into the classroom. It's also about creating an environment where every child, regardless of their abilities, their characteristics, is treated equally and embraced for who they are.
Mhm.
In fact,
Correct.
when we move uh, beyond these labels, and stop
Mm.
drawing these lines between neurotypical and neurodivergent, is
Mm.
when we start to actually foster a culture of belongingness.
Correct.
This is something I've noticed in the corporate world as well, where leadership at large is increasingly focused on inclusion more so
Mm.
than just diversity.
Mm.
People talk about diversity and inclusion, but we're talking about inclusion first. The key is that when we create truly inclusive spaces, diversity is no longer a challenge. It just becomes a
Mm.
natural byproduct,
Mm.
Correct.
whether in schools or in workplaces. When we truly include everyone, regardless of their gender, their ethnicity, their
Mm.
abilities, their skills,
Mm.
we're
Mm.
cultivating a culture that's not only diverse but also strong, resilient, capable of
Ve-
innovation.
Very true.
So I think this question speaks to a larger point, about inclusion. And it really
Mm.
connects to a fascinating example I would like to highlight here. Um, take the Google Pixel, for example. It was a
Mm.
highly popular product. I'm sure everybody has heard of, used it, that
Yeah.
gathered a
Huh.
lot of praise
Mm.
amongst, from the consumer community. But there
Mm.
was a one segment of users, who faced a significant issue with the phone's user interface. And this segment was of people who were left-handed. Now, the
Mm.
design wasn't intuitive for them. And what caused was a bit of a backlash from this group. So when the team
Okay.
at Google, they
Mm.
analyzed this feedback, Google being Google, they went ahead, to
Mm.
analyze what has gone wrong, where they realized something which was so trivial but very important. There was
Mm.
no one on that team, development
Mm.
team, who was left-handed.
Okay. Huh.
Now
I
you
think
see
this is
this.
something.
Yeah,
This is something which people should know. Mostly
yeah.
when you're developing something, you have to keep everything in mind.
Yeah,
Uh,
so this might seem like a small issue, but it
Correct.
really highlights, how the
Hmm.
lack of diversity can have a huge impact.
True.
When this team then added more perspective, diverse perspectives, particularly people from who were left-handed, the design then
Hmm.
got improved, and
Hmm.
then later became much more user-friendly
Hmm.
device for everyone to use. So
Hmm.
now think about how this extends to the broader idea of inclusion, not just in
Hmm.
tech, but also in schools, I think.
Correct.
We
Correct.
know that in large companies like the one I just cited, the
Hmm.
head of technology, he happens
Hmm.
to be a visually impaired person. And
Hmm.
that unique perspective has helped the company create such truly innovative products. And I think this is what is called inclusion. This kind of diversity, both in terms of abilities and backgrounds, brings
Hmm.
fresh insights into insights that might otherwise be overlooked, is what I feel. And
Hmm.
I think for schools also, if we only cater to a narrow idea, I am taking the
Hmm.
liberty to say these things,
Hmm.
but just neurotypical children, we might miss out on the richness of learning that comes from diverse experiences and perspectives. Uh, the real value in education, as in businesses, is when we stop making distinctions and we
Hmm.
start creating spaces where everyone is
True.
included.
True. True. True.
Yes.
So
Um,
I also wanted to add, I think it is, um, I, it's incredibly important, for neurotypical children to be in inclusive schools.
hmm.
Answering the question again to taking a little more time.
Yeah.
Children, whether they're neurotypical or not, I think they
Hmm.
all really thrive when they're exposed to a wider range of perspectives. From
Correct.
my own experience with this school that my kid went to, I've seen
Hmm.
how inclusive environments taught the kid to work together across, differences, like
Hmm.
like I
Hmm.
mentioned, how he shows empathy and
Hmm.
better understand the world around him. So
Hmm.
these are not just the lessons for the classroom. I think these are the life skills that are
Life
essential
skills.
in
Yes.
everything. Yeah, from
Yeah.
honing up friendships,
Hmm.
relationships at work, life at
Hmm.
large. I think this is something that I've seen how diverse teams also in, at
Correct.
my career at the corporates, I've seen how resilient and creative and effective these people become, as they
Correct.
grow.
Correct.
So,
I think
so well
life
said.
skill is something that we are missing in today's generation because, as you said, mostly I think the children are being brought up in a cocoon. Like, इधर जाओगे तो ये हो जाएगा, इधर जाओगे तो चोट लगेगी. So what you have said is right. We have to inculcate all these things right from the beginning because we are looking forward for the what do you call the future, not for a short term, it's for a long term. And so wonderfully said. Uh, and as you're working with a corporate sector, right?
Yeah.
So my question is regarding that like you talked about your child, about how he has developed empathy, the school, and all these things. So as a corporate person, do you think people, what do you call, uh, what is your experience in the corporate sector when it comes to practicing inclusion? How do you inculcate practice of inclusion?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think corporate organizations definitely are increasingly, recognizing the
Mm-hmm.
importance of inclusivity, not just as a moral imperative, but as a key driver of innovation, engagement, long-term successes, for that
Mm-hmm.
matter, even profits. So the concept of inclusivity has evolved, from being a diversity initiative uh,
Mm-hmm.
to a broader strategic focus that involves creating workplaces where every individual uh, feels valued, they feel heard and supported, identified, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Many companies that I am aware of are now implementing comprehensive training programs, that focuses on both
Okay.
one, raising awareness, and
Hmm.
second, providing specific tools to ensure that the inclusion is there across the board.
Hmm.
This could include training for both employees with disabilities and
Hmm.
neurotypical staff. When I talk a
Hmm.
lot about hiring because that's what my bread and butter is, and we do
Hmm.
hiring across leadership, across technologies, etc. And the organizations these days use the term PWD, which stands for Person with Disability. All
Disabilities. Yeah.
these, yes, and all these organizations, they have running different charters to fostering inclusion, whether it is person with disability, whether it is gender diversity. Now, I'm
Hmm.
talking about gender diversity also because you see, these days it is
Yes.
easy, rather to hire, say, a 50-50% balance when we're
Hmm.
hiring from campuses because, everybody is letting their daughters, go
Hmm.
forward and take up education and do
Mhm.
good. But
Correct.
as they move higher up on the ladder in the corporates, the responsibilities within the household, several other reasons, they are
Hmm.
asked to or required to step back from their corporate lives. And
Correct.
that is where I think all the organizations have realized that there is a sharp decline in
Hmm.
having gender diverse or rather women in leadership positions, right? So we do
Mhm.
focus a lot on hiring leadership, women in leadership positions also. So, and coming back to what we were talking about, how do they create these, different tools and equipping the environment, the
Hmm.
infrastructure, this includes training for both employees, which
Hmm.
are with the disabilities and neurotypical staff that I was talking about. The
Hmm.
organizations are providing physical infrastructure, accommodations, but also ensuring that the needs are met, in terms of digital accessibility,
Hmm.
flexible working conditions, and any other kind of tailored support which is needed. Uh,
Okay.
so this is for the the neurodivergent staff or people that I'm talking about. For the staff which is neurotypical, I think the focus is on developing awareness, creating
Hmm.
awareness, empathy,
Hmm.
understanding the value of inclusion and diversity. And
Hmm.
this can take the form of unconscious bias training, where employees learn to recognize their own biases, whether related to disability, gender, ethnicity, or any other aspects of identity. Additionally, I think many organizations also offer inclusivity workshops that teach staff how to collaborate effectively when there are differences, how to communicate inclusively,
Hmm.
because it's very important. When everybody is on the table, you have to be very sensitive
Hmm.
about, and then create that kind of sensitization, and how to be allies to people with disabilities
Hmm.
or other marginalized groups that we discuss. um, Few examples that perhaps I can cite here is, one is the technology giant everybody knows of, is Microsoft. They have
Yeah.
made significant strides, and I think it's all in the news as well, how they've been creating an inclusive culture through their neurodiversity hiring programs, which
Hmm.
specifically recruits individuals on the autism spectrum. So
Okay.
they've also created programs that train their managers
Hmm.
on how to support neurodiverse employees,
Hmm.
ensuring that the workplace is tailored to their strengths and challenges. And
Hmm.
this effort, I think, goes beyond recruitment. Microsoft has then created a supportive culture with mentorship programs. And I'm sure it is not just Microsoft, others are also doing it,
Hmm.
creating employee resource groups that help all other
Hmm.
employees feel part of a greater whole.
Hmm.
The other example, I think, at least within the technology community, everybody understands and knows, is
Hmm.
Accenture, which has
Hmm.
committed to hiring people with disabilities and making their offices fully accessible. They
Hmm.
have comprehensive training programs again for all the
Hmm.
employees, to
Hmm.
create inclusive environment. And I think, yeah, so audit are large, most of these organizations are taking these initiatives, making sure that their recruitment and retention processes are all inclusive and fair. Yeah.
So beautiful. And thank you for bringing out these names of these corporate giants as well, because I was about to ask you कि कौन-कौन सी companies हैं जो recruit कर रही हैं and how do they apply? And adding to this list, there are a lot more uh,
A lot more.
a
Yes.
lot more companies, specifically if I talk about Lemon Tree that I know of, and there are
Hmm.
many other, जैसे Tata Consultancy है, और
हाँ.
there are many schools like Tagore International and this name Shri Ram.
हाँ.
These are Delhi-based schools who are
Sriram
hiring.
Millet.
They are actually hiring neurodiverse teachers.
Yeah.
Just
हाँ.
imagine neurodiverse people being hired as teachers who are going to teach all the kids in a classroom. So this is such a beautiful world ना. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि
Yeah.
इंक्लूजन इस लेवल तक जाना चाहिए कि इंक्लूजन या इंक्लूसिव, these words should not exist anymore. It's like
Exactly.
True, true,
yeah.
true. I think even about what Amrita mentioned about, terming or labeling as neurodivergent and
Yes.
neurotypical, that should also come to an end.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
We are so thankful and grateful to you, Amrita, for giving us all this information. और मुझे लगता है गूगल जैसे जायंट्स कर सकते हैं, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट एक्सेंचर कर सकते हैं, और पर्सनल लेवल पे हम छोटी छोटी चीजें तो करते ही हैं. सो व्हाई नॉट डू इट मोर कॉन्शियसली, राइट? रादर
Yeah.
देन
As they
लेबलिंग.
say, the change begins from home. So
करेक्ट,
I
चैरिटी
think,
So true.
बिगिंस. यस.
So true. So, Amrita, since our focus for today's podcast and this series has been inclusion, so one big topic that we have not or can't ignore is the LGBTQ community. Okay. So, what and how organizations are ensuring that they are hiring people from this community and also being inclusive once they are part of the organization. So, can you just throw some light on this as well?
Absolutely. So inclusion in the workplace isn't just about meeting, the numbers on paper. It's about creating a culture where everyone, including those from the LGBTQ plus community, feel safe, they feel valued. What I,
Mm.
spoke about the other, segment, marginalized segment as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm.
It's a significant step that organizations are taking, not
Mm.
just in terms of hiring, but also in terms of retention, in terms of providing or giving proper respect, sensitizing the organizations,
Mm.
and
Mm.
giving a platform for equal opportunity and long-term career
Mm.
growth for everyone. Many organizations today are making concerted efforts to actively hire from the LGBTQ plus community. This include reaching out through specific job fairs, partnerships with several LGBTQ plus communities, ensuring that the job descriptions and recruitment processes are LGBTQ plus communities, inclusive, and they mention
Mm.
it, very, very
Mm.
particularly.
Mm.
Companies are not only removing biases from their hiring practices this way, but are also encouraging diversity in leadership
Mm.
by making sure that LGBTQ plus individuals are represented at every level,
Mm. Mm.
irrespective. And it is also
Mm.
important to note that diversity in hiring is just the first step. The real
Correct.
challenge is creating a workplace culture, that makes
Mm.
these employees feel included once they're part of the organization.
True.
Uh, so once the LGBTQ plus employees are hired,
Mm.
the organizations, I'm sure they are already doing, but they must also ensure they have inclusive policies
Mm.
in place, which includes everything from making sure employees can openly express their
Mm.
gender identity, their sexual orientation
Correct.
without fear,
Mm. True.
discrimination,
Mm.
any kind of, to offering health benefits that cover the needs of LGBTQ plus communities, because
Correct.
like gender affirming healthcare and all
Mm-hmm.
of those
Mm.
facilities.
Mm.
Additionally, it's vital to provide training programs for all the staff on LGBTQ plus inclusion,
Mm.
unconscious bias, understanding issues like misgendering or discrimination, like what we were talking off line about, how those pronouns play a very
Correct. Correct.
important
Correct.
role. This is where platforms like LinkedIn, play a crucial role. LinkedIn is not just a networking tool. It has become a platform for visibility and support also. By allowing individuals to include their pronouns on their profiles, for example, LinkedIn sets a precedent for making a gender identity
Yes,
and
yes.
sexual orientation visible in a
Mm-hmm.
professional space. What it
Correct.
does is it helps normalize the conversation and makes it easier for LGBTQ plus individuals to be seen for who they truly are, without having the fear of being misgendered or misunderstood. um, for organizations, I think LinkedIn can be a powerful tool for signaling inclusivity by showcasing diverse leadership, posting about LGBTQ plus initiatives, even participating in Pride celebrations, which happens every year in the month of June. It also allows employees to connect with like-minded professionals and network with others from the same community, providing an extra layer of support and validation. Moreover, companies that engage in LGBTQ plus inclusion on LinkedIn by showcasing diverse voices and stories or participating in Pride events send a very strong message that they're not just committed to inclusion in theory but also in practice. And this public stance encourages uh, other companies to follow suit, and helps to build a larger, more inclusive network across industries. And people come in solidarity, whether they are themselves part of the LGBTQ plus community, going through the processes, etc., or they are showing the solidarity for this using their pronouns. For example, I use she, her, hers. That means I'm showing solidarity, and then I am one of the ally, and I'm open and I'm inclusive to this community. And inclusion is something which is part of my daily work ethics, and that's what I'm trying to display here.
सच ए यूजफुल इंफॉर्मेशन अमृता। आपके कहने का मतलब है अगर मैं लिंक्डइन प्रोफाइल पे अपने प्रोनाउंस यूज करती हूँ ब्रैकेट्स में, शी हर्स या ही हिज वॉट एवर, इफ अ पर्सन यूजेस, सो डज दैट,
Yes,
it means that you are showing solidarity towards inclusion. You are in support
yes,
of डाइवर्सिटी, राइट? सो
yes.
आई नेवर न्यू दिस। सो और बहुत सारे लोगों को नहीं पता है, तो चलो आज आपने ये भी बता दिया। थैंक यू सो मच। दिस इज सच ए
You're welcome,
यूजफुल
Deepa.
इंफॉर्मेशन।
Yeah,
एंड
yeah,
एज
and I think people should know it and encourage, because I
यस,
think this if this becomes a practice at every organization, at every, I mean, world can be much easier place for everybody. So yes.
no, no, it should be, na. This is really useful information because I did not know. I was keeping on ignoring that message that I was receiving from LinkedIn, thinking कि मुझे क्या जरूरत है ना, मेरे नाम से पता पड़ रहा है. But then if now you tell me that it shows my solidarity towards this cause, then I'll definitely put it into my LinkedIn profile as well. And when we are talking
Yeah.
about this recruitment and being inclusive, and you also mentioned that you are into hiring. So, if at all, uh, how can people send their resumes to you, or are there any email IDs where people, neurodiverse people or people from different communities can send their resumes for workplace? Obviously, they need to be responsible, as I understand. They should be, मतलब रेज्यूमे भेजने का मतलब ये नहीं होना चाहिए कि कुछ भी उठा के आपने भेज दिया, बट इफ दे आर हायरेबल इन द सेंस दैट कंपनी की पॉलिसी है एंड दे फिट इनटू दैट particular category of like the qualification or training, whatever. So can people send their resumes or contact you? And how? If yes,
As
how?
Absolutely. So we work with several organizations, and some are also non-profit organizations which are part of, or they run these initiatives where they are open to bring people who are eligible for these positions, technical, non-technical, back-end workforce, etc. So we fully encourage. What I can share perhaps is, I'll share an email address where people can share their resumes and mention their skills which they are equipped with, and accordingly our team can get in touch with them and align for future positions which are whether existing or in future. We can definitely align them.
Oh, that would be so great. Thank you so much. तो हम डिस्क्रिप्शन डिटेल्स में वो ईमेल आईडी डाल रहे हैं, तो whoever is listening to this podcast, whoever wishes to apply for the eligibility criteria, to know about the eligibility criteria for a certain job position, can definitely read out the description details of this episode on YouTube and Spotify or wherever you are listening to this particular episode. And
Sure.
I'm so thankful and grateful, Amrita, because we had named this series as Podcast of Hope. So this has turned out to be really hopeful.
I'm glad I could be part of this series and the noble cause that the two of you are running. Really, really grateful that you called me and considered me for coming
Thank
on
you.
this podcast. Yeah.
थैंक यू सो मच। बट अब आपको जाने से पहले एक आखिरी चीज, एज इट्स मेंशन्ड दैट यू आर अ पोएटेस, और मैंने खुद आपको कविताएं कहते हुए सुना है, तो वी वुड लाइक टू एंड दिस एपिसोड और कंक्लूड दिस एपिसोड, द लास्ट एपिसोड ऑफ दिस ईयर 2024, विद वन ऑफ योर ब्यूटिफुल पोएम्स इन योर वॉइस, अमृता।
Sure, sure. Sure, Deepa. My pleasure to recite one of my poem, which I'm sure you have heard before, but thank you. This poem is titled as, it's in Hindi. It's titled as एक उम्र का हिसाब बेहिसाब तजुर्बा अभी बाकी है, and it goes like this.
यस।
कुछ और जीना अभी बाकी है, कुछ और जीना अभी बाकी है, कुछ और बनना और टूटना अभी बाकी है। एक उम्र का बेहिसाब तजुर्बा अभी बाकी है। करवटों में कई रात अभी बाकी है। करवटों में कई रात अभी बाकी है। जिंदगी की राह में ठहराव अभी बाकी है। नहीं हुई जो बात अभी बाकी है। नहीं हुई जो बात अभी बाकी है। न जाने कितनी मुलाकातें अभी बाकी है। गिर के संभलना अभी बाकी है। गिर के संभलना अभी बाकी है। इन चोटों का भर जाना भी अभी बाकी है। शाम की क्षमा अभी बाकी है। शाम की क्षमा अभी बाकी है। मेरे हिस्से की जाम अभी बाकी है। कुछ और जीना अभी बाकी है। कुछ और बनना और टूटना अभी बाकी है। एक उम्र का बेहिसाब तजुर्बा अभी बाकी है। एक उम्र का बेहिसाब तजुर्बा अभी बाकी है। धन्यवाद।
बहुत खूबसूरत। सच में एक उम्र का तजुर्बा अभी और बाकी है। और इसी के साथ बहुत कुछ अभी बाकी है। अगले साल में हमारा मिलना बाकी है। और क्या कहूँ, इसके आगे मुझे कुछ कहना अच्छा लग नहीं रहा है। तो नए साल में आपसे जरूर मुलाकात होगी। किस तरह से पता नहीं, लेकिन इस सीरीज को हम यहीं कंक्लूड करते हैं इस सीजन में। और अभी बहुत सारे मेहमानों का अभी आना बाकी है, इसी उम्मीद के साथ कि नए साल में हम कुछ और नए गेस्ट लेके आएंगे। और तब तक के लिए स्वस्थ रहें, मस्त रहें, खूब खूब खुश रहें और इंक्लूसिव बने रहें, खुश रहें। दैट्स ऑल। विशिंग यू ऑल अ वेरी वेरी हैप्पी न्यू ईयर। सभी को नव वर्ष की हार्दिक बधाई। लिटिल स्टोरी टेलर्स और बचपन के पिटारे से की ओर से धन्यवाद। आपका दिन शुभ हो।